the big question, because the RBI has now answered that very question. Yes, the lender can, but only within a very specific set of rules. And these rules go much further than just device locking. They redraw the boundaries for how banks, the NBFCs and recovery agents can deal with the borrowers. The new framework kicks in from the 1st of January 2027. First, a lender cannot lock just any phone because you owe it money. Remote restriction is allowed only and only when the loan was specifically taken to finance that particular device. That's number one. And even then, missing one EMI doesn't mean an instant lock for your device. If that's happening, well, that's a massive red flag. Restriction can begin only after 30 days of overdue payments, whilst a full restriction, a complete lock on that device for which you actually borrowed the money, can come only after 60 days of defaulting on an EMI payment. Borrowers must also be told upfront that such technology is going to be used. So if you're out there, missed out on a payment, you will get to know or should know what the lender is going to do with that said technology. And to understand why the RBI felt the need to intervene here, because loan recovery is becoming increasingly technologically driven. The regulators want lenders to recover their money, but not through intimidation or harassment or constant crank calling, SMS bombing, by turning your personal device and personal data and your loved ones and relatives into tools of pressure. And that brings us to recovery agents. The rules put clear limits on how they can operate. Generally, recovery calls by these lenders and the visits, official home visits, are restricted to take place between 8 a.m. and 7 p.m. Threatening language, abusive language, expletives being hurled, repeated harassment, public humiliation, and contacting relatives or colleagues to shame a borrower, all of this is now prohibited starting 1st of January 2027. Even social media shaming is off limits. And if an agent turns up at your door, you should get advance notice and the agent must carry proper identification and authorization for the same. Now, what happens if your phone actually gets restricted in the legal way? The phone cannot simply become completely useless. Incoming calls, the SMS and the emergency functions, they must continue. Essential work-related functions also have to remain available, and importantly, your private data is not fair game. Recovery technology cannot be used to access your contacts, your photographs, videos, messages, call logs, and even your location history. And once you pay up, this is the important part here, ladies and gentlemen, once you pay up, the device should ordinarily be restored within 1 hour. If restoration is delayed after the payment, the borrower can be entitled to 250 rupees for every hour of delay, subject to the prescribed cap. So the RBI is trying to strike a balance here. Lenders can recover their money, but recovery cannot mean harassment, privacy violations, or cutting consumers off from essential communication. The real test, of course, needless to say, is going to be implementation, is going to be enforcement. Will these rules actually change recovery practices on the ground, and could tighter regulation eventually affect the cost or availability of consumer EMIs? Let's discuss that with our banking and consumer policy experts, Abhijit Bose, consumer affairs expert, and Ashwini Kumar Rana, founder, Voice of Bank, with us here on the broadcast. Mr. Bose, how significant is this coming from the RBI today? We've heard about this before as well. We've heard about how loan recovery mechanisms have to favor the borrower, not the lender. The lender has to be accountable, but enforcement and implementation is where we essentially lose out. Is this new red line strict enough, stringent enough?
I think I would say it's a civilized shift. And from loan recovery itself is not a very civilized language. So remember, when the large corporate loans go bad, what do? You negotiate, you restructure. Why the same practice not with the individual borrower? So it has to be the similar thing. So I would say that it is a civilized shift.
It's a civilized shift is what you're saying. Ms. Ashwini Kumar, your assessment, your opening submission, the RBI has created a 30-day and a 60-day escalation mechanism, nothing before that. Is that enough time for the borrowers for this restructuring that Mr. Bose is talking about? How significant is that distinction in practice when we actually look at implementation?
Actually, this is happening because of the new policy of the selling trend. People are buying and paying later. This trend is not good for the people who don't have the money at present and they wanted to have mobiles and other things. But it is good that RBI has at least initiated some regulations of recovery. Definitely, Mr. Bose is telling that when you are doing with corporates and other borrowers, why not? And I will say that if anybody is not able to pay the EMI, have any issue, before 30 days, he should contact the bank or lender that he wanted to go for further, that restructure the loan, because otherwise that will be a problem, because initially before 30 days he may be knowing.
Yeah.
So it is better to go for such a bad shape. You should approach the lender before 30 days. I will having some problem. You can restructure the loan and for reduce the EMI and further period of the loan.
Okay, okay. Mr. Bose, for an ordinary consumer out there, and from your consumers affairs lens, what are the three biggest rights that have been created by these new RBI rules? I'm again asking that, this is the civilizational shift. You're absolutely right. Implementation will be a problem come 1st of January next year. But three biggest takeaways for the viewers that are watching this right now, many of those that have bought their devices, their phones, on EMI per se.
See, the first thing is the dignity of borrower will not be stripped the way it is happening. All those things which you said in the beginning are in practice, right? We all know that you get distress, you get bad calls. In fact, the financial distress can happen to anyone. Anyone can lose job. Anyone can have business losses. So that has to be built into your business plan. Like a big mall would have a built-in, built-in business plan for the shoplifting. Similarly, the bad loans can happen. So this shift will bring little dignity to the borrowers and consideration.
I'm also trying to understand why are we waiting till the 1st of January 2027 if all of this is in practice already, because I've known of cases where people get calls from these lenders, and you all know what kind of language is actually used. They also call in the wee hours of the day, sometimes midnight. Then there is SMS bombing. You get about 100 text messages within 2 to 3 minutes, and that's actually quite harrowing. It's a clear-cut harassment. But I'm also trying to understand, what about the location? Are they accessing our location history? Are they accessing our private data? Is that a norm in these times, in today's times?
Yeah, that is one thing very, surprising, from where they get the data. They call the relatives. I got calls from some distant relative who was a defaulter, and suddenly I didn't understand what is happening. And the first thing which came into my mind was the same thing, that why they shift from 1st of January, because one of my consumer who came with some complaints, and this person was saying that my court date is on 10th of October. So things will be settled. So now I'm worried for that customer that till 1st of January, this person will be continued on that, attacks which he is getting, or his relatives are getting.
Yeah. These are all actual cases. Mr. Ashwini Kumar, you see, can a recovery agent, let's say, for example, call me at 2 a.m. and say, sir, hello, nice to speak to you. Just a friendly EMI reminder here, sir. Can that happen? Because that usually ends up happening outside. And can the lender then publicly shame somebody online for missing an EMI? Even though these rules are in place, there are still those mischievous elements out there. And how important will it be, or rather, how difficult or easy will it be for the enforcement to really make sure that implementation has been done right to the T?
You are right, sir. Since this is happening earlier, and for that also, RBI has regulated some, they have framed some rules in May for recovery agents. And now for the mobile, particular mobile laptops, other instruments. Because it is not required to call, to shame.
Yeah.
But I don't think that this will be changed immediately, because whatever we have a system of recovery, agents or agencies, companies hired by the NBFCs or banks or private bank, they are not well trained, well educated people. And for that particular aspect, RBI is telling that recovery should be respectable. It is not mean that you are not paying the installment means you are not a good citizen. It may be your condition, your job
Correct.
may other thing, but it will not happen immediately. And most of the times, RBI, whatever they make the rules, they prospective, not retro, or immediately. They every time, whatever the rules they frame out, they implement from the prospective. Before that, they wanted that banks, agency, whatever they have hired for this, they should formulate, they should manage
Understood.
that.
Understood. I'm also trying to understand, before I wrap up this segment, my final question to you, Mr. Bose. I mean, we've spoken about how this is great for the borrowers, how this is great for the consumer out there. Can we also highlight or throw some light on why this might be working for the borrowers as well? In all the rules and stipulations that we've seen and that we've tried to read through the fine print of to help the viewers understand, the operative portion was that the lender is going to be accountable. But what happens if the borrower is really, not paying up, is not coughing up on the money? Then, I mean, there should be some sort of mechanism for the lenders as well. You'll have to unmute yourself, sir. I think you're on mute, Mr. Bose.
No, I am not on mute.
Yeah,
Can you
we
hear
got
me
you,
now?
we got you. We heard you. Yes, sir.
Okay. I said RBI hasn't waived a single rupee. It banned the illegal methods only.
Okay.
So to say that the bank or lender will be at loss, I don't agree with that. Bank is in a business of lending. They borrow money from the savers and they lend it, and in between they earn the interest. So it's like any other business. So why to use the illegal methods? I have a case where a father was asked about his daughter, and the recovery agent is saying, "Call my wife." So the daughter is his wife. So it is to that extent. I mean, that's something which is like a heinous crime.
Wow. That's quite an interesting case study that you've thrown at us. The RBI has drawn a new line between loan recovery and consumer harassment. You may still face the consequences. I mean, if you're not paying, then you better should. Like Mr. Ashwini Kumar said, you're not a good citizen of the country if you continue missing out on your EMI payments. You may still face consequences for missing an EMI, but your privacy, communication, and dignity cannot be a collateral for that. And that's why this is a civilized shift, according to Mr. Bose. Many thanks for that operational word. From January 2027, the rules get much clearer. Many thanks, Mr. Ashwini Kumar. Many thanks, Mr. Bose, for taking out the time and speaking to us here on News9. All right, then, we're shifting our focus to an exclusive conversation that's coming your way next. And this is about sports again. This is about Indian football and the youth of Indian football, which is preparing for a World Cup unlike anything it has seen before. And the battle over who should shape the team has already begun. We know the top contenders over there. The AIFF has appointed Bibiano Fernandes as head coach and Mr. Ranjit Bajaj as the team manager for India's under-15 side ahead of the inaugural FIFA Under-15 World Cup and Festival in Azerbaijan. All member nations are going to be playing. And on paper, it looks like a powerful combination. Bibiano bringing in a proven record of developing Indian youth teams. He has won multiple SAFF youth titles and has been one of the most successful coaches in India's age group football. But we also know about Ranjit Bajaj, the founder of Minerva Academy. We already know about his successes, the Gothia Cup, the Helsinki Cup. He's proven it time and again, especially in the 8v8 setup. One of the country's most prominent grassroots football developers and the man who has been deeply involved in identifying and nurturing young India talent and how. But there seems to be a problem here. And what exactly is that problem? Well, hear it from the man himself. Let's understand what his POV is, what is the concern and the apprehension